Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today we're beginning the very first video of what will be Nemo's War, a Rolling Solo showcase. And this is going to be the unboxing video where we're going to dive into the contents of what you'll receive when you purchase this retail if you're interested in the game. The game is an adventure game by Chris Taylor, and Victory Point Games is the publisher. I'm really excited for this one, mainly because of its heavy solo focus. That's one of the reasons why I chose that this game would be primarily focused on my channel. It just took some time to get here and arrived yesterday. I'm super excited for it. So we're going to rip right into this and take a look at the inside of the box, because I haven't even seen what's inside this game yet. And I'm hoping you guys are just as excited as I am. So let's just take a closer look at it. And from here, we'll move on to the solo setup video following it, then a rules overview video, and then follow that with a playthrough where you guys get to actually shape the decisions that Nemo's going to make during his journey in the game, which I'm really hoping you guys will enjoy. So here we go, Nemo's War. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over on its back so you can see a little bit more about what it shows on the back of the box. One thing to note is I probably need to zoom in because some of the text is quite small, so I'll zoom in so you guys can see from distance. So I'll just read this out for you, even though I'm sure you can see it on screen, but it says, carve out your own 20,000 leagues under the sea. Nemo's War is an adventure game of underwater exploration and combat circa 1870. You are Captain Nemo, commander of the magnificent Nautilus, an underwater vessel beyond compare, and you will search the wild seas, combat vessels of all nations, brave the hazards of the deep, find mysterious treasures, behold and chronicle amazing wonders, and travel around the world in your quest for knowledge and vengeance. And it even has a quick little shot of what you get, or what it'll look like, at least the board. We're not going to talk too much about that, except for just this important fact. Again, solo playable, as one player is mentioned on the box, up to 4 people, 13 plus for ages, and 90 minutes to play, although I'm sure the first time you play through Nemo's War, it'll likely be a little bit more heavy the first time. The game has a little bit of a learning curve, so what my videos are going to aim to do is to try to take some of that away from you so that it's quicker to get to the table. So we're going to go ahead right now, we're going to cut into this and see what we've got inside, because I'm really excited for this one. I've been waiting for this for a while now, and it finally arrived, and man, I've seen pictures, and they are nice. It's nice. Very nice. So let's take a look. This is the first time I've ever seen the inside of the box. I cannot wait. Let's see what we got here. So take off the wonderful plastic wrapping that nobody ever cares about, and obviously you can notice the color difference immediately. With the sheen off of it, the game box is much more colorful and alive, so that's really cool. And we're going to obviously take the top off the box because we want to see what's inside. Artwork for the game is fantastic, at least on the cover of the box. There's a little bit better of a shot of the color, just so the glare's not involved. So Nemo's War there, and his ship at the bottom, very cool. A very nice rule book. Let's see how thick this guy is. So this one looks like, it seems kind of average in size, although I'm already noticing very quickly that the font is quite small. Has a nice game equipment overview of what you should have inside your box. The rules appear to be, well, I haven't actually read the rule book yet, but I can tell you I'll be doing a read through the rule book and then playing this through a couple times at the bare minimum before I get this thing to the table. It's got your nice draw pile preparation, your game setup page. I'm going to have a whole video specifying how to set up the game, so that'll make it easier for you. Here's even a nice picture of the whole layout of Nemo's War and how to lay it out on the table, so that's also really good. And again, the rest of it goes about, in terms of rule book, it goes for 30 pages, it looks like, based on the number in the bottom corner there, even though that didn't zoom in properly. So that's not terrible. It's pretty average for the most part. Has a nice, it's nice quality, glossy, and looks good in terms of the rulebook, but that's not the most exciting part of the game. It's this stuff right here. So I'm not sure what this is. It's an epilogue. I don't know if this is spoiler material or not, so let me just take a quick look at this. This looks like, this is the type of thing this is your ending. So essentially, depending on your level of victory, you'll be going ahead and reading based on your defeat or victory, or in the points that you score in the particular game. You'll be reading certain sections of this book. So this kind of is spoilerish, although it's not really, but it probably is. So I'm not going to show you the inside of this one, but essentially it just has real quick some art, and then below that art, there's some text to let you know maybe the ending of your game. So then we move over here to the token sheet. It's the next thing that I'm seeing. These are all the sheets of ships, and there is tons of them. So there's all kinds of stuff. There's targets for ships, of course, that you haven't actually encountered yet. You've got all kinds of different colored vessels, which I'll explain when we get to the actual rules overview video. Very cool, very colorful, and very nice detail on all these ships. They're very, very nice. And the cool thing I'm noticing right off the top here is a lot of them are very different. I don't see duplication across this, which is really cool. I thought, actually, from seeing a couple pictures online, that this game was going to have some ships that looked exactly the same, but I'm not seeing a single copy of any ship that's a duplicate, and that's really awesome. So every one of these little pieces are unique. Every ship is unique. Every name of the ship is unique. That's really cool. And again, this is the gray side on one, and then of course there's different colors on the other. All of that matters for gameplay, but won't really be explained in this video. I'll wait till we get to the rules overview. So there you go, 2 punch boards. Oh, never mind, there's more. 3rd punch board. So here we go. We've got some more stuff along the bottom here that I'm not too familiar with. I do know these are essentially what your focus is on in terms of what Nemo's kind of going to be like leaning towards, whether you're going for an explorer victory, a science victory, a war victory, or an anti-imperialism victory. Of course, you have tons of treasure tokens as well, and of course on the other side is what you actually get, but this is kind of the generic side. So yeah, and then of course this is, I believe, is your crew, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I believe this is your crew that comes along with you and can present you with bonuses at the end of the game. Of course, you can also choose to kill them off, apparently, so that's kind of cool. So those are the 3 sets of token sheets in that one. So the next thing that obviously is popping up right in front of us here is the game board. So I'm going to try to make some space for this, but just before I pull this out, let's take a look at the insert here. So they actually went ahead and put together a decent insert. Thank you, Victory Point Games. Well done. I always like a game that has an insert and it's not just tossed in a box. So you've got your ship, of course. So this is an important piece, being that this is Nemo's ship. So there you go. And I believe there's a base for it as well, which is probably hiding in this box somewhere. You got yourself a deck of cards, a rather thick one to be honest. So we'll be going through that deck of cards in a second, probably just doing a quick rifling through. We've got ourselves some wooden tokens as well as I believe that's an action token. Denotes how many actions you have. Got some dice, 2 black, 3 white, pretty standard D6s. Ooh, some fancy gems. I imagine these are for treasure notations, maybe different levels of treasure, different types. We'll have to see when we get into it. Victory Point Games Premier Line Catalog, so if you're interested in their other products, they have that thrown in there as most companies typically do. Some more punch boards, so I guess there was more. Some of this stuff is used for tracking. Some of this right here, let's see, bold attack, sneak attack, to sink torpedo attack, very cool. Sunken treasure fleet, ooh. Some more targeting tokens. I believe these are really important because they end up covering the entire world map because you don't always know the ships you're going to run into in this game. So I'm going to move this over to the side here because I don't know how big this is going to open up to be in total. But let's just take a look because this should be quite sizable. Oh, it's looking awesome already. It's got lots of color. So that's cool. I hope I'm opening this correctly. I'm probably doing this. Oh, this is actually pretty good. Look at that. That's actually a pretty decent size for a game board. So that thing is, wow, this is really long. So I was not expecting that. It's actually longer than the screen on my camera is even set for at the moment, although I can pull this back just a bit and try to get the rest in. So, I mean, you can see the outer edges up here and way over there. So it's a fairly long board and stuff like that. So, but it's also long and narrow. So it's going to fit on your table on a typical normal table, no problem. Obviously going long ways, doing this kind of sideways at the moment. But it's also really detailed. There's a lot going on here. So I think the best thing to do, because I can't speak to what you're seeing here just yet, or really I can because I actually know some of the rules already, but I haven't played it. But I will be doing that soon. I will just zoom it in so you guys can actually see some of the content on this map. So if you're interested in some of the details, you can see over here there's an adventure card test modifiers. So it shows your action success table based on search, rest, repair, refit, and insight. You've got yourself up here in the top area, you've got yourself a failing area and pass area for your adventure cards. A little further up, you've got yourself a draw pile, so that's pretty cool. Over here, lots of tracking. So this is all the tracking on Nemo himself, the crew, and the hull. Obviously, as things deteriorate, it goes down this track until you hit these red spots. When you hit these red spots, bad things happen. Above it here, you've got essentially, I believe this could be like the notoriety track. Yes, that is true. So I can see that just right there. It says notoriety track. So this is going to track along the way. And of course, bad things happen along this track as well, these red indicated spots. So that basically covers those two sections of the board. I'll zoom out really quick here. We'll take a look at the main board. So the main board is obviously a map of the world, essentially. So it might be hard to see there. But you got like North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Europe, all that kind of stuff across the board. So, and then of course, majorly divided up by the oceans. There's like the Western Pacific, the Pacific Coast, the Arctic Ocean, North Atlantic, European seas. So the major ones of note are the ones with the dice. So anywhere there's a dice symbol, I think those are the major ones. And then you've got minor ones that are kind of in between. But again, everything's connected by blue lines or dotted lines. You can travel between them as long as there's connections. Right up here in the top right of this map is a ship placement priority and removing of uprising cubes. So again, that kind of gets into the gameplay, but this is just going to help you to understand a little bit about the placement priority and removing uprising cubes. Those uprising cubes are actually stored down here, and I do apologize for the massive amount of zooming here, down here in the corner right there. Right there, you unplaced uprising cubes are put here, and then when they're put into use, they end up going here. They just denote rebellions, uprisings, all that kind of things happening in certain parts of the world. Now, I haven't even talked about this other section of the board, because normally when you have a game, you typically don't have this. You typically just have what I've explained on this side is usually the normal average board game size. This is like a whole other board until itself, but it's a really handy one. It needs to be zoomed in on so you guys can see just how useful it is. There's actually a turn sequence built right into the board game itself. So you can actually see the turn sequence, the combat sequence. Again, when you're talking about your motives in terms of Nemo himself and the scoring, it's right there. You've got things for your acts, so it goes across Act 2, 3, 4. This is in the bottom, and in the acts are right there in the yellow, orange, and red. A little bit below is where you're going to track all the ships that you actually destroy, and of course keep points in this salvage area. Or I shouldn't say actually it looks like it is a salvage area, but essentially where your ships are sunk that you're taking out, you're putting them in here. And of course the major point counters, I believe, are up in the top right in the purple area. So that's a general sense of the game board. I'm not going to go into specifics on detail of like the game rules or anything like that, because they're all going to be covered when we actually move into the rules overview. But a really nice board, really colorful, pops on the table. It looks like they did a good job. I think I saw the prototype for this way back before the Kickstarter, and it was a little bit more grayscale if I remember correctly. So this certainly adds color, and it certainly looks more like Robinson Crusoe, I want to say, in terms of its layout and design, although a little less on the, it's pretty similar. It has that similar feel, I guess. But again, totally different game, and I'm really excited because I've heard that the solo play in this is quite good. I also don't want to break it by folding this up incorrectly, so see if I can do this. There we go. So you fold these on the inside, and we're done. So this is the main game board. That's perfect. We'll bring this box back into the center, and we're going to talk a little bit about the cards and things in here. So essentially, I'll give you an idea of the wooden cubes that come in the game. Again, if you've played any typical Euro games, wooden cubes are kind of the go-to. This one has wooden cubes, but it has some flair from Euro games, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a Euro game. So this, again, I believe is an action tracker denoted by the A. Got some black, got some gray cubes. Again, I'm not sure what their uses are. And then I think that's for the notoriety track is your marker right there. So they're all wood, they're lightweight, they're not too heavy or anything like that, but they're good quality. So there's no issues there. Next up is the gems. I'll show you what they are. Now, most of us have seen these gems in other games before because Like I use them for all, I'm using them in Hoplomachus actually in my playthrough currently. So if you're familiar with, you know, that playthrough or even any of the other ones I've done, even Gloomhaven and stuff like that, I've used these types of gems before. They're super, super nice. They pop on the table. They're really shiny and they just look like treasure. And they also are really good for card games as well. So you play games like Lord of the Rings and you get those resources that are for certain types of colors, like blue, red, and yellow. You can use these types of gems to denote that. But it's cool that the actual game company incorporated that these gems that you can purchase separately into the game itself, so you don't have to actually go out and get that. The deck of cards here, I'll go ahead and rip this open, although I won't be able to speak to them too much. So of course, got a nice handy little tab on the side. Simply pull it and it starts ripping open. And we've got a whole deck of cards that I'm not going to be able to explain too much. So we've got a co-op roll here on the back for blue backs. We've got the ship's upgrade deck, which has a bunch of upgrades for the ship. We've got the most important adventures cards, and actually the adventures cards basically make up everything else. So there's a little bit of variation, but the cool thing is the cards are colored, so you'll be able to see what is what, even without even looking at the backs of the cards. The color alone helps. So again, not going to show you everything, but just going to show you that there is some nice artwork along with very clear instructions on how these things play. So when you're going through them and making these tests, the tests you're trying to succeed on are up in the top right. Of course, you've got your pass icon in there with the P, and then of course if you fail it, you've got the F. And so there's a whole bunch of different things in there, and different types of them too. Like you can see they're coming up, some are play, some are test, and things like that. We'll talk about all that in the rules overview and the setup. I'll actually likely try to avoid that in the setup. I try to keep the rules for the rules overview in the playthrough. But there you go. This is a good idea of some of the cards in the game. And I'm not going to go through every one of those ones, but the ones you were seeing just then were all kind of these ones here, which are all considered adventures. And we'll show you how to actually set those up in the game once we get going. The other pile of cards are the upgrade cards that I mentioned, and these ones are going to be specific to your ship. So you hydro drives and strengthened prow and double hull and reinforced armor, steam torpedoes, fog machine, arcane library, periscope device, monstrous design, and electro-powered crew armor. So all kinds of cool upgrades that you can make to your ship. Of course, you probably won't get access to all of those. I believe you get access to, I think it's like one at the beginning or something like that, or four. There's four, I think, in an area where you're allowed to purchase them from, and I think Game Effects can also bring them into play as well. Well, again, we'll talk about that later. Co-op roles, I believe these are obviously specific to playing with more than one player. So if you're playing solo, then I believe these wouldn't be in play, but we'll double check that in the rules overview. I could be completely wrong. These, I'm not too sure what they're for. They could be reference cards. They also have setups, manages risks, and other things on them. They denote a bunch of other different things. They could also just be reference cards, so I don't know what they are, but when they say co-op role on them, they make me think that it's 2 or more players automatically, so I'm going to go with that assumption until I'm proven wrong otherwise through the rules. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's Nemo's War in terms of an unboxing, so I hope you guys are really excited for it. As of right now, in terms of gameplays, I do have Hoplomachus Origins currently in a showcase that is going to continue. We just recently passed the second trial, or moving into the third trial. Following that, and coming very, very soon, we have 7th Continent. I know there's a ton of people that have been messaging me to get this thing to the table, and believe me, it is coming. I am not skipping that one. So 7th Continent's already showing on the channel as a showcase, and then this one here, Nemo's War, is aiming to be the next one after it, unless something jockeys it out of position. But as of right now, it'll be Hoplomachus Origins and 7th Continent as my primary focuses for the next little bit. And then we're going to jump into Nemo's War as soon as one of them starts to wane and come down to the end. But regardless, I hope you guys are excited. Make sure that you jump on board, because we're not just going to play through this. We're going to actually involve you in the playthrough, as we always do here on the channel. So you're going to be able to actually make decisions at the end of each part of the Nemo's War videos. And you'll be able to shape maybe the direction or the path that we take to victory. I'm saying to victory because I'm hoping we win. I've heard that it's a tough game, so we probably won't, but maybe with your guys' help, we can pull out a victory. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, like it, share it with your friends, let them know we're playing the game if you're interested in it. And again, thank you so much for the support and for watching. And as always, keep on rolling solo.